Hey guys, it's Handy Jeff, and today we are replacing some outlets. This is a 2-prong outlet, but I've actually already had this thing off. And there's a ground wire, so why didn't they install a ground plug? But more on that later. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this, just in case you want to do this at home. It's not a very difficult thing, and I'm going to show you how to do it and be safe while doing it. So let's go over the tools that we're going to need. All right, so to replace an outlet, you're gonna need an outlet. So here's my little bulk package of outlets. I've got a black cover plate just because, you know, black trim, you want it all to match. I've got a little electrician's tape. I'm gonna have the internet up in arms about that. And I've got a 6-way screwdriver. This is just a flat blade screwdriver, so I don't have to switch back and forth between the two. Got some wire strippers and a zappy zap tester. So, can that outlet zappy zap us? Let's find out. If you've never used one of these zappy zap testers, basically if it stays solid, that means the thing's hot. Hey look, you put it in the hole, things are hot. That's what she said. So let's take care of that. We're gonna run downstairs to our breaker box and shut off the main breaker because we don't need power to the house. Now if you live in a house that has all of your different runs labeled, then yeah, definitely just shut the one off for what you're changing. But nobody lives in this house. In fact, the whole thing's under construction. It's a rental house, and we're renovating it right now. So we're just gonna kill the power to the whole building, so that way we don't get shocked, because I'm not a Sparky. All right, so we are in the basement, and here is your electric panel. If you don't know how to shut your main breaker off, find the one that is labeled main. Flip that bad boy. Now the power to the whole building is off. Now somebody will tell me, oh, you can totally do that while this entire thing's hot. And yes, you totally can. But I grew up on a farm, touched an electric fence one too many times growing up, so I don't like to be shocked. Even though we just flipped that breaker, we are still gonna retest this. You wanna know why? Because I have been to places where you kill the main breaker and for some reason or another, there's a run that is before the main power, or you're pulling off a meter before the meter because somebody needed to steal electricity at some point. So just to be safe, test all of the prongs where your outlet would be, and you know what? That means we're safe. You don't want to go zappy zap. It's not fun. So just shut your power off, but let's rip this outlet apart. Okay, I'm going to take my flat blade screwdriver, take this screw out that's right in the middle here. Go ahead, pull it all the way out. Now your cover plate comes off. That reveals some screws, which these are Phillips. Switching to my Phillips screwdriver. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take these off. Since we've already tested the outlet, we know that it is not hot. All right, the screws are out. You can go ahead and pull your outlet out. If you have tape, which, like I said, this is going to set the internet on fire, rip that tape off. All right, fun fact of the day, let's play a game. Does anybody see a problem with this outlet? Anybody? Anybody? Well, I'll tell you what, either this entire house is wired wrong because this is the second outlet that I've taken apart that's wired like this, or somebody didn't know what they were doing. Normally, white wires do not go to the brass. Normally, white wires go to silver, and then the black or hot wires will go to the brass. So these should be flipped, and we're going to take care of that, and we'll even test it after we put it back together. Okay, so since we've talked about that, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we are going to unscrew all of these wires, which luckily for this, these wires are color-coded, and you can tell what they are. And sometimes you have to grab a wire with a little piece of plier to get out of there, but that's okay. All right, we're gonna do the exact same thing to this side here. All right, so we can see there's some insulation in here. That's a fire hazard. We're just gonna get that out of there because who needs it? And now for the interesting part. If we peel this little wire back here, this casing, we're going to see that there's a ground wire, which really perplexes me why they didn't just install a 3-prong outlet to begin with. But hey, I'm not their dad, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually open this up and pull that ground wire so that it's free. All right, I didn't mention this, but you know, it doesn't always hurt to have a pair of wire cutters, which is what these are. They go by another name that YouTube probably wouldn't like. At least that's what I've always heard them called. And I'm just gonna trim this casing up just enough so I can peel it back. All right, as you can see, there is now a bare wire, or it could be in green casing, and that's okay too. That's your ground wire. I'm gonna go ahead and you can rip this paper off, clip it, whatever you gotta do, and I'm gonna get rid of this extra insulation here because it's gonna do nothing anymore. All right, so now we need to get our outlet out. Now here is our new outlet. As you can tell, we have 2 silver terminals, 2 brass terminals, and a green terminal. Now remember, the white always goes to silver, the black always goes to gold, and the green. The green is the bare wire, or the ground. Or it could be a green wire, could be in a green casing. All depends entirely on where you're at in the world, how old your wiring is, and what they used when they wired your house. So let's just hook those bad boys up. But first, I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to explain this like you're 5, because chances are if you're watching this video, you've never wired anything before. So with these hooks, which way should we go? Should we go this way, or should we flip it around and go this way? Well, you got to think we're going to be screwing things down on this. We're going to be screwing these screws down. Okay, well, pop quiz time's over. So the proper way to do this is to hook it in a way that when you tighten the screw, as you're about to see here, let me get you a little bit better view here. When you tighten the screw, it actually tightens the wire down. If this had been placed the opposite direction, it would have been loosening the screw as you tighten it down, or loosening the wire as you tighten it down, trying to force it back the way it's going in. We always want a good connection, so we always want our screws to turn clockwise, obviously, and we always want our wire to wrap around clockwise. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and connect both black wires here. And sometimes you have to bend the wires out of the way. You just don't want to bend them too much, because if you do that, it can fatigue the copper and you can end up breaking the wire. If that happens, all you got to do is just strip a little bit more with your wire strippers and just go ahead and reconnect the wire. Once again, as I'm screwing this bad boy down, it pulls the wire into a closer, tighter seal. All right, I went ahead and broke out the tripod so you guys can kind of see what's going on. So we've got our 2 black wires connected. We're going to go ahead and connect our 2 white wires. Once again, right now I am manipulating these wires so that they will be tightened when I tighten the screws. All right, that second one wants to fight me a little bit, so sometimes you just got to bring your pliers in here, or your strippers, whatever you want to call them, and force it down in where it needs to belong. All right, so essentially now this wire is wired up. What I mean by that is this should be a complete circuit, because this ground wire is actually only used in case of an emergency. If there's an issue, if something's shorting out, sometimes the ground wire will need to be used. We are going to do the exact same thing with the ground wire, which is a new wire. We're going to take it out, we're going to bend a little hook into her, and then we're going to connect it down here to our ground screw, which is that green screw that I was telling you about. As you can tell, it takes me a little bit longer to do electrical stuff than somebody who does it professionally. And you know what? I'm okay with that, because everybody has a skill set and life's about learning. So that's what we're doing here. You know, I took basic electricity in high school, but I am not a professional electrician by any means. So we're going to tighten that screw. The ground screw is complete. All right, so now let me show you what I'm going to do that's probably going to tick somebody off in the comments. Okay, so I have a rule, and a lot of people say you don't need to do this anymore, blah, 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 but hey, this right here is an electrical box. It is a metal box. If I have a metal box, that means I'm gonna tape all my terminals with electrical tape. If I have a plastic box, I'm not gonna tape them. But as you can tell, that's metal. So that means we're gonna tape this all of our connections. All right, so what does that mean exactly? It means we're gonna take some electrical tape, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll out quite a little bit. You know, I've got, 1.5 feet right here. I'm gonna go ahead and break that off. And since these screws are there, we're gonna go underneath the screws, and we're just gonna tape off our electrical connections. Make sure to go around the mounting screws. And do this all the way around. We're just wrapping it around. Now you could take your mounting screws out, but you know what? That's just an extra step. So we're trying to get this done and over with. And now what we have here is an outlet that has been completely taped so that if for some reason our connections touch the box, we don't have a giant spark fest and make an arc welder. Because I know somebody's gonna be mad, go down in the comments and find their comment and just reply thanks to them saying that we don't have to tape our connections. And I ask for that because that's gonna push this video to more people, because any comment's a good comment for the YouTube algorithm. And if you could do me a solid for giving you this knowledge for free, just go ahead and hit that like button so it'll push to more people. And if you like to learn stuff like this, subscribe. All right, anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our outlet and push it back in here with the wires connected. We're gonna take our screwdriver and we're gonna try to line our mounting screws up with the holes that are on the box. Sometimes this could be easier said than done, and sometimes you gotta have longer screws or a box extender if you wanna be technical and do it the right 100% way. I won't lie though, I literally just go get new screws that are longer, which if you were paying attention, that's why I have this kit right there. All right, we're just gonna go ahead, push our outlet in, get our mounting screws to line up, hopefully. I think that's it right there. Come on, baby. And that's what I'm talking about. There we go. We're gonna tighten this bad boy down. We are almost there. We are almost to the promised land of a new outlet that has 3 prongs. You wanna make sure you got a good tight connection here, because this is the outlet, or this is the screw that actually holds your outlet in. And as you can tell, that's solid. Then, if you're gonna reuse your cover, that's totally fine. If you're not, grab your new cover, which is what I just did, and the hole mounts right there. You gotta get your flat blade. Go ahead and tighten that bad boy back in there. And voila, check it out. We have ourselves an outlet. Guys, if you're still here, I appreciate you watching. And once again, hit that like button. All right, so now we run back downstairs or wherever your breaker box may be and crank that main breaker back on. Now, generally, if another breaker trips off, kill the main breaker again, because you have an issue, you got to check your connection. But yes, what about the weird wiring? Let's figure that out. Let's go grab a tester and find out if this whole house is wired wrong. All right, I got my outlet tester here. I'm gonna plug it in. Uh-oh, we're showing red. That means we have an open ground. That's no bueno. That means that ground wire is not connected to anything. So you know what? Maybe it needs connected at the panel. That's totally possible. And if you want to learn how to do that, subscribe, because I'd love to teach you how to do that. Anyway, if you would like a tester like this, then grab it in the link down below in the description. That helps support the channel, and Amazon's been a major revenue source of this channel. I'm hoping to go full-time sometime in the near future. And I appreciate you so much. This has been Handy Jeff. Thank you so much for watching.